Hello everybody, welcome to Wideo.co's advanced webinar. My name is Kathy and I will be taking you through some of the cool tips and tricks that you can do with Wideo, so you can make the most of your video experience. So what I just like to tell you is that you are all actually at the moment on mute, so you can't actually participate vocally, but what I'd like you to do is, if you do have questions for us, please note them down in the question section. You will see that on your little panel, on the GoToWebinar panel. And once you put your little questions down at the end of the webinar, after I've finished explaining, then I'll go through your questions and answer them as I can. Also, if you have in mind some of the tricks that you may have seen or things that you'd like to achieve, please put them down as well, and then I will try to do them for you and show you how to get those done. Today, what we're going to do, we're actually going to work on 4 different effects. If you have a look on your screen, I've already actually prepared them for us. So the first one, it will be animating using both timeline keyframe and in and out effects together. The second thing we will be doing is animating lots of objects in one time. The third thing will be copying an object that's already animated, copying it with animation, so it's easier, so you don't have to use it to start from scratch, and how to copy and paste keyframes. And we will also show the fourth one, which is a secret trick. So you need to stay until the end to learn a little secret. We'll keep you posted. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm actually going to start. I'll just give a little, you guys might be already familiar with our tool, so I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the actual tools that we have available. You can insert backgrounds over here, either images or colors, insert objects. On my stuff, you can even upload your own objects. You'd already know that. Here you can add your basic shapes. You can add text by editing the text over here in your little box. Also, there you can upload your own sounds over here and your own pictures. You could actually use the pictures that you upload as backgrounds as well. Here on the side, you could also zoom in, zoom out. You can use the navigate, which gives you a little hand. You can use to move your screen around as well. You can also use your space bar, if you'd like, to move it around while you're working. Over here on the bottom, you've got your play scene and play video buttons, so you can actually play just the scene you're working in, or at the end, once you have a few scenes together, you can actually play the video and see it in its entirety. Over here, you have the timeline where you work within each you work within each object, and on the bottom, you will see all the objects that are listed as you work within them. Over here, you have the panel of the scenes where you can add, you can delete, or you can clone scenes with its animations as well. You can also add transitions between the scenes using the transition bar over here. You can also collapse the scene. If you want a little bit more space to work in, you can also collapse it just by clicking on this little button here, and you can still see the scenes down here, and you have a little view of them as well, just to give you a little bit more workspace as well. All right, so I'm going to start with how to use just a few little tricks that we know. So it's actually making, for example, objects fade out while growing, or zoom out while traveling, or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show you this effect, so you will be able to see. One moment. Yeah. So what I've done here, I'll show you this one. So it's actually, if we just click on the object, you can actually see on the timeline what I've done. So I'm going to start it. I'm going to show you again what it looks like, and then I'm going to start it from scratch so you can see how I've achieved this. So you can see it types up and then zooms out and fades. So I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to start from scratch showing it to you. So first of all, I'll add the text. I wrote introduction. and then I scaled it to the way that I wanted it to be. Just like that. Then I changed the text around to this font. I could even do it as a bold or take it off. Then for my text, the first thing I did is added an effect of typing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make the scene a little bit longer so that you can see the effect better. I'm going to make the scene about 4 seconds. So, first of all, I've put in a typing effect. So, what I wanted to do is I wanted to make it a little bit longer so the actual effect will go for slower rather than faster. So first of all, we've got the in effect of typing. Introduction. That was our first step. Then I wanted to, as it grows, I wanted to fade out. So I'm going to give it an exit effect of fade. I'm going to keep it at that length for now until I actually give it, use the keyframes, and then I will adjust it accordingly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate it. So I'm going to click animate, and I know that I wanted already to have 2 points of animation. So I'm going to click OK for the first point, which I wanted to be in this size, and I'm going to put it just after the typing effect has happened. From there, I'm going to click OK again, which is going to give me the second animation point. And I'm going to make it grow until here. So I'm going to make it bigger so that it zooms out. Now, a little trick is if you hold the shift button, you will actually be able to zoom or grow your object from the center so you don't have to move it around. So I wanted to fade out to this size. So I'm going to click OK on this one. Sorry about that. Sorry, it's already done it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the actual keyframe. I'm going to grow it to where I want it, and I'm going to click OK. And now this keyframe, so this point, the first one, is where it started, and the second keyframe is where I want it to end. Now I'm going to make the fade just so that while it's growing, it's beginning to fade already. So let's have a look at it. Now from there on, it's up to you to play around and make it as you please. If you'd like to make it faster or slower, it's up to you. You can always play around with the keyframes. And the scene duration, I could even make it a little bit shorter so the fade happens a little bit faster. Just like that. So in this, you can see that we use the in and out and the keyframes at the same time. Now I'm going to give you another example of this. So in this one, I actually used the fade first and the typing second. So you can have a look over here, fade, and then it types out. So it's the same thing. I've given the object an in effect, which was a fade. Then I've added the keyframes. I've added where I wanted it to begin and where I wanted it to end. And I've given it an out, which is a typing effect. So then again, it's up to you how fast you'd like it to happen by adjusting the keyframes or adjusting your in and out animations. If I moved it around just like that, if I play the scene, I've given it time in the middle as well. That is another way to use it. So you can use it for in all different ways. Just give it an in effect as you'd like. Decide how you'd like the object to appear by giving it your keyframes, and then give it an out. Another way to do this, another little trick, is making an object spin as well. So I can fade it in and come out spinning. So let's have a look how to do this one. So for here, you can see that I've only used it in effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this and I'm going to show you how to do it from scratch. First of all, I'm going to add my object and I'm going to edit it to the color that I like. So over here, I'm going to make it the fill orange, and the line I'm going to make orange as well. Now remember that you can play with the opacity, so that means you can make it see-through. Sorry, I'll do that with the fill. You can actually make the object see-through if you'd like, or you can make the color of it darker. You can play with the color. Or you can even pick a color. So if you see a color that you like somewhere on your screen, you can even pick it. So if I want it to be gray, I could pick it like that. So for now, I'm just going to choose the orange. Okay, I'm going to click on my object and I'm going to give it an in. I'd like it to fade, so I give it an in effect of fade. And I'd like it to be slow, so I'm going to just elongate it a little bit. Now, from this point, I wanted to, while it fades in, I want it to be smaller than that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate it. So I'm going to choose the first position. I'm going to edit this position and make it small. Again, what I'm doing is I'm using the shift button to make it smaller from the center and click OK. From there, but I wanted to start a little bit after the fade. Then I'm going to click animate again. Yeah, I'm going to make animate again. The reason why you can't see this at the moment is because my orange cursor is there. But now you can see it because at this point the object is faded away. So you need to move it to, in order to see your object, you just need to move it along the timeline. So the second animation point I'd like to be over here. So I'm going to actually make it bigger than that. I'm going to grow it, press the shift button and I'm going to grow it to here. But now I would like it to spin. So at the same time, while I made it this big, I would also like it to spin. So in the same keyframe, I'm going to actually spin it around just like that. Just a couple of times. And then I'm going to click OK. Now, in order to see it, you could also make it spin out quickly or you can make it spin out slowly. It's up to you. It's up to where you put the actual, where you place the actual keyframe. So to actually see it, fades in, and it didn't spin for me for some reason, so I'm going to try and do it again. Okay, so I'm going to just spin it around like that, click OK, and hope that it works for me this time. There you go, just like that. So if I press enter as well, it will start showing me the screen. There you go. Now I can move the keyframe so that it starts growing while it fades in. So if I play scene again, you can see that it actually fades in while it's still growing, while it's growing due to my keyframes, just like that. So that's a way you make the object spin while it grows. Nice. Okay, so let's move on to the next trick. So over here, what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna show you a great little effect that has only pretty much been mastered today by our master, amazing guys that do our Flash and UI UX. Thank you, boys. So if you have a look, what I've done is I made all these people enter in at once. Before, what you had to do is animate every single little one of them. See, they are all actually individual objects. But what I've done is I've animated all of them at once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this and show you how I've done this. So I've chosen icons and chosen this guy. I'm just going to scale him a little bit, put him to the side, and I'm going to clone him a few times. And then clone this group. and then choose these guys and move them down. And then I'm going to clone them again. And I'm going to use them as the third row and move them down. Okay, so now I've got 3 groups. What I can actually do is move them as well together. So I'm just going to use the side button and I'm going to move them. Another little trick I've learned as well is if I just press the side buttons, they move a little bit. But if you actually hold the shift button, you can actually move leaps as well. So I'm just going to move them a little bit to the side, just like that. So I give them a little space between each other. There we go. Okay, now I'd like them to all come in at once, but I don't want to animate each one individually. So what I do, instead of grouping them, because later on I might want to individually change some of them. So what I do is I select all of them and I go down to the in effects, and let's say I give them a fly effect. I can also make it longer or shorter for everybody. And what it will do is make all of them animate at once instead of having to do it one by one. If they're all selected, I can even make the animation shorter and it will apply to everybody. Great little trick. You could also do that with the out effect. So if I just select all of them and give them an out effect, let's bounce them out. Let's have a look at this, play scene, and all they bounce out. So it saves you a great amount of time if you were trying to animate one by one. Now you can do them all at once. All right, let's go to the next animation. So the next animation, what we're going to do is copy an object or text with animation so that you don't have to, again, repeat the animation that you've done. For example, what I've done here, if you have a look, I'm just going to play scene. They're both pretty much the same, but I've only pretty much animated one time. So I'm going to start by showing you the text. I'm going to delete these texts and show you exactly what I've done. And actually, I'll delete everything and show you what I've done from scratch. So in this same time, I'm going to also show you how you can copy and paste keyframes and use that as well. So I'm going to write my text that I like. I'm going to move it to where I want it to be, scale it. I might change the font because I like font number 7 the most. Give it a bold. And now I would like it to, like I did before, I would like it to kind of flash at me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it bounce first. So it enters by bouncing. And then I'm going to animate it so it gives a kind of a flashing effect. So I'm going to animate it. First, my first point, I'd like it to be this size. So I'm going to click OK. And I'd like it to start just after it bounces in. The second point, I'd like it to be a little bit smaller. Again, I'm using the shift button to make it smaller from the center. And I click OK. And then I put it where I'd like it to be. Now, normally what I would do is I'd click OK again and enlarge it and put it smaller and larger again and smaller again. But no, what now you can do is, because this keyframe is big and this keyframe is smaller, what I can do is I can actually copy this keyframe, put it over here, paste the keyframe. By the way, to actually copy the keyframe, you right click on the keyframe, right click on it, click copy keyframe, and then right click again and paste keyframe. So what I've done is, here I have it big, here I have it smaller, here I have it bigger because I've copied this keyframe, and the last one I have it smaller because I've copied this keyframe. I can even do it, and I'd like it to end as a bigger text. So I'm going to copy this keyframe again and paste it over here. So when you go and view it from the beginning, it shows kind of like a flashing effect. I can make it even slower by dragging it a little bit, making them a tiny bit slower flashes between each other. Just like this. And play scene, and it's flashing. Great. So now that was a lot of work, and I don't really want to do that again. But I'd like to have different text. So what I can do is I can clone this text with its animation. So you can click on here, clone with animations. And if you have a look at it, they're both identical. So what I'd like to do now is I'm going to choose this second animation that I've just cloned. I'm going to move it to the side to over here. And I'm going to change the text to "Life is awesome," because it is. And now I've changed the text, but the animation is exactly the same. You can have a look. They're exactly the same. Great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add objects as well. So I'm going to add a little light bulb. I like the icons, so I'm going to stick with these guys. I'm going to put the little light bulb over here. Great. So now I'd like the light bulb to kind of show that it's swiveling. So I'm going to animate it as well. So I'm going to make it bounce as it comes in. You may have already noted that I kind of like the animation, the in effect bounce. So I'm going to make it bounce. I'm going to click animate. I want it to start at this point, so I'm going to click OK. Move it to here. Then the second point, so what I've done is I'm actually holding the shift button, and I'm adjusting the size of the object in towards itself. And I'm going to click OK over here. So that's my second animation point. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this keyframe. I'm going to put it over here, paste it, copy this keyframe, put it over here and paste it. And I'm going to copy this keyframe again and copy and paste it over here. I'll move them along a little bit. There we go. And now have a look what type of effect you've gotten. It kind of looks like it's swiveling. Pretty cool, huh? So I'm going to show you again, just like that. Awesome. Now what I'm gonna do is I wanna put another object just underneath "Life is awesome." So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to clone this one again with the animations. I'm going to move it across, but I don't want it to be a light bulb. I want it to be something else. So instead of deleting it and starting it from scratch, what you can actually do is swap it for another object. For now, I'm going to do this weird little smiley face. Swap it, scale it to whatever size you'd like it to be, and the animations have actually stayed there. So if you play scene, you will actually see that you don't need to animate it again. It's actually swapped it for you with the animation. So again, you can by copying. So if you have a look over here on the light bulb, I copied this keyframe, which was as normal, and put it just after this keyframe where it's smaller. And so it gives that effect. Instead of having to reanimate it every single time, you can actually use the copy and paste keyframes to make your life easier. Great. Now our last little secret. Let me just see if anyone's got some interesting questions before I give away the secret. A slow moment. Great. All right, so it looks like I'm explaining myself fine, so that's good. That's good news. So here we go. Okay, so for our last little secret, I want to show you this. So what I have here is a group of objects. Now I've made this group of objects. I've spent a lot of time to put them all together and everything, but I've realized that I have a spelling mistake because music is not actually spelled like that. Maybe in some countries, but I don't know. So what I'd like to do is, instead of ungrouping everything and losing all my animations that I have already existing there, what I can actually do is enter into the actual group and edit within the group. Now this is something that we are actually still working on. So it is still in beta, so please bear with us. It doesn't always work the way we would like it to, but it's something really great that will help you along, especially for changing around texts. Okay? So this is called the F1 function. So if you click on your group and go and press F1, you will actually see that the only thing that's highlighted within your screen is the objects within the group. Now I can choose each object within the group individually. Can you see this? If I want to, if I press F1 again, it takes me out and I can't actually select each one because they're in a group. I press F1 and I can actually select each object individually. So what I can do is click in here. I can edit my text and write music. And I didn't lose any of my animation because I didn't have to ungroup everything, change it, and regroup it again. So again, if you click here in the normal editor, you will be in a group. So this is a group of objects all together. If you want to edit something within the group, just press F1 on your keyboard and everything will fade away except for the group that you have selected. From there, you will be able to edit any of the objects in there. You can even, if I wanted to, I could swap another object. And I will not, and if you press F1 again, you will exit out of the screen. And if you have a look, without losing my animations, I actually edited my group instead of having to redo that all over again. So that's our little F1 secret. Now guys, the F1 is not 100% there yet. We're working on it, but we wanted to share it with you guys. We wanted to share it with you guys so that you can see it and try and start to use it and give us your suggestions as well. Okay. Oh, perdón. Sorry. All right, guys. So these are, for now, these are the animations that I wanted to teach you guys today. But as we go along and continue, and we have suggestions from you guys, then we also will do more webinars with more tips and tricks. And also, if you have a look at our Learn section, and also down the right-hand side, you will also see we have little explainer videos of how to do different types of tricks as well. We also have a Wideo YouTube channel where you can go. It's YouTube/Mr. Wideo with 2 O's. And down the bottom of our Wideo screen of the actual channel, we also have Wideo handy hints and tips. So you can actually see how to, the little tricks along the way as we share them. Your feedback is really, really important to us. So please let us know what type of effects you'd like to learn so that we can continue to make these videos and continue to update you. If you'd like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write our email on the group chat. If you have any suggestions, If you have any suggestions, any questions, any tips, anything that you might like to ask us, anything that we can build and create another webinar for you to join, just write to us over here. It's founders@wideo.co, and then we will be able to answer some more. Now I'm just going to see if there's any more questions and see what I can help you guys. So except for my phone number, I don't think there's anything more that anyone is asking, but thank you, very flattering. If you have any comments, if you have any comments, guys, please let us know. It will be a great help. And also, if you have anything to add, anything to ask, we are always here to help, and we're looking forward to your comments. Thank you very much for joining us today to our webinar, and we hope to see you at future webinars as well. Thank you, everybody. Bye.